This is iRacing.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Somebody, anybody, really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.
Well, last time out, Jesper Eriksson decided he wanted to win in an Indy car, and we keep to the oval aspect, but in something different this week because we are here at New Smyrna Speedway for the Major Series, World Series of Asphalt with the big blocks, and it's live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Now, hello, everybody. I am Craig King, and joining me in the booth will be Nicholas Hillebrand, looking dapper as always. Daniel Costello is with us there as our director, using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Once used to be called Daytona Raceway, it's now got a different name as something bigger went beside it. But to find out more about this legendary short track, we go to our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to New Smyrna, located just a few miles down the road on I-95 to its more celebrated neighbor, the Daytona International Speedway. New Smyrna is a hotbed of short track activity. During Daytona Speed Weeks, New Smyrna is the place to be, with races every night during Speed Weeks that bring out some of the biggest names in all of auto racing. New Smyrna is a fixture of the oval career path, so chances are you've had several races here. Whether it be a late model, the wheel-in modified, the street stock, the list is endless. Famous NASCAR drivers started their career here, and the track has proven to be an increasingly popular test venue among NASCAR's teams. 20 degrees of banking in the corner awaits our drivers today with 7 degrees on the front stretch. High banks, high speed, high excitement is the name of the game here at New Smyrna. Having to put together a lap here is extremely tricky, as you have to be on top of your game, not hit the wall, and manage that transition from the corners to the straightaways. Adding to the challenge of all of that, New Smyrna is a very narrow track. Pinpoint precision is an absolute must. All in all, it's widely agreed that New Smyrna is a legendary Florida short track, and you're going to see why today. Big time action, short tempers, and a shorter track. New Smyrna has it all. Enjoy today's broadcast.
Well, they say high speed around here. I don't think we'll get that much speed, Nicholas, but this track is very tricky due to that very steep elevation change.
Hello there, Craig. Hello, everyone else. And yes, indeed, it's quite a tricky circuit. As we can see, just under half a mile, over 23 degrees, well, 23 degrees banking. That is over twice the amount of banking that we have at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for reference there. And with these cars that we have here today, it's going to be quite interesting because they are comparatively lower power compared to normal NASCARs, but the mini stocks nevertheless should provide some interesting racing today.
Yeah, some interesting racing. They are clocking almost 170 kilometers an hour before they have to hit the brakes out there today. And if you thought this is a steep banking, it's not as steep as Bristol. Bristol, you're looking at another 2 to 4 degrees more banking, but it's still big for a short track. And I did mention at the start of the broadcast, Jesper Eriksson leading the championship. We'll get to those standings because beside him will be Trevor Varosky, who is there in second, and Daniel Thomas will be third. The Aussie, Garen Batten, will be fourth in the championship for the Europeans, and Edward Shelley in fifth, followed by Daniel Holmer. Look how close it is with Jeff Schmeier and Oscar Fredrickson behind. Wayne Hutchinson will be ninth, and David Baker, I almost said Daniel Baker there, apology. David Baker will be there in the 10th spot. But of course, we do have the drivers. We also have the teams, Nicholas.
Absolutely, and the teams are still quite decently dominantly led by SimRace Sweden Esports in first place, 4,091 points. Just over 350 points behind that is Fusion Gold Euro, and they of course have two partner teams, Fusion Silver Euro in 4th and Fusion Bronze Euro in 10th. But before Fusion Silver Euro, we have Dog Bear in 3rd place, almost just under 500 points behind. Fusion Silver Euro, the team mentioned just now, 820 points behind. Composite Performance and Baby Metal, hashtag Notacold Racing in 5th and 6th. Then Udox Daisy in 7th. Connection Lost Racing hopefully keeps their connection up and running today in 8th place. And LDL Racing goes to 9th.
You know, I haven't done a major series in a couple years, and not a cult racing is still a thing. And that is not one of the big blocks, but it's got a nose almost like it. Here is how the racing will be. We're going to have 15 laps for the heats. They're going to do some qualifying times in a minute to set themselves up for 3 heats of 15 laps. In theory, we won't need a last chance qualifiers. Everybody makes it in today. There's only 20 cars out there. So that's going to be interesting. They do get a fast repair, as is normal with major series, but no tire changes. So the tires they actually qualify on will be the tires they have to go through in the heat and the tires they will have to go through in the race. Tire wear on an oval is very important. It's going to be a short race at 35 laps, but even still, the end of that race, those tires are going to be worn out pretty bad if you overdrive a bit too early.
Absolutely, and with these tracks as well, it's the tricky bit. You don't have the most power here, so we have the mini stocks with just 1,066 kilograms weight with the driver, so extremely light, especially for a stock car. Only a 2.3 liter, or if you're American and prefer those units, 140 cubic inch displacement inline 4 engines, 2 valves per cylinder, single overhead cam, as you know, it was used to be built in the 50s and 60s, 250 horsepower on that. You have to carry the momentum, you have to be clean, you have to be careful, and you can see how much you still have to attack, though. You can see them sliding into the banking, the G-force is trying to pull it out, and the banking trying to hold them a bit better in the racing line.
Yeah, look at that banking as well, as you then start to wash up out of 2 and 4 to get yourself into almost the wall around here today, as the drivers just got 2 more minutes left with their practice time. Very interesting. This track does have a lot of late models and tour mods, or tour mods more than anything here. And as they were hearing, it is where some of the NASCAR drivers have actually learned their craft out there. And you look at some of the winners of the big race around here, and you've got some real classic NASCAR drivers. Ren Reutemann, Gary Barlow, to name. Dick Trickle as well, Mike Eddy. Butch Miller won it 4 years in a row here. When it was called Showtime Speedway, but then when it was New Smyrna, Bobby Gill, to name, and in recent times, a Ty Majeski. I wonder where I've heard him before. Won it 3 years in a row in 2015 to 2017. So in the real world, this is the track that the drivers learn, and that's just the nature really of the little small track in the middle of nowhere that they say in America. But this is because of the banking. It does feel like this is a very key track for drivers to learn how to take on the bigger ovals.
Yeah, and it is quite unusual, honestly, for a track this short to have this much banking. You can see how close Edward Shelley is getting to the wall there, just barely almost hitting the outside gate, actually, as, ooh, there's someone spinning up ahead in practice. Luckily still in practice, because that would be a bit gnarly in the race. And as we mentioned, the races are quite short, so qualifying is going to be quite important. And not just that, actually keeping it consistent and, you know, paying attention to literally everything happening around you will be even more important.
Yeah, and even though we look at a smaller field today for the Europeans compared to what the International had earlier this morning or what the Americans will be having later, it's still a combination that's really interesting. This big block, as Nicholas was going over, something new to the sim in this year. And some drivers have really taken onto this car. It's something quirky. It's the evolution to me of a street stock that Dale Earnhardt Jr. helped make on the sim. This is something a little bit more familiar, a little bit more power, as we were saying. It just feels a very fun car to be driving around here. As practice is over, qualifying, we're looking at any times in the 19-second range, Nicholas. This could be over in a blink of an eye.
Absolutely, and as I mentioned earlier, this is one of those circuits where you have to be absolutely clean the entire way through. 19 seconds, you can basically bat your eyes once and already have lost a couple of hundredths, maybe even a tenth of a second, and you can't get that back out by going more aggressively into the next corner. You have to be absolutely perfect all the way through.
Well, drivers will get ready to do qualifying, and of course it is not all together, of course. It's not an open qualifying. It is your own individual qualifying, so they will be doing that. 5 minutes and 4 laps for these drivers as see the first cars coming out onto the track. I can tell that's the 666. I can see it in a distance. That's Aldous Patergillis in the 666. Derek Smith in the 556. So you may get a little bit of confusion from us later in the race, but they're in 2 different colors. And of course, one thing with the Majors Series and also the Majors Garage. And don't forget, we did show the adverts earlier today. Get your setups from the Majors Garage and join in to the Majors Series as well, because there are a few races left in the season. You want to try your hand at, well, anything, Nicholas, because the Majors Series, you've got a range of anything. One week you're doing an Indy car, next week you're in one of these things, and the week after, or the month after, how about an F1 car? It's a little bit of everything in the series.
Yeah, basically the equivalent of jack of all trades. You have to be a master of everything if you want to win here, or at least limit the damage where you aren't as strong. Right now, Batten in first place, half a tenth ahead of P2, in front of Eric Smith in the Mountain Dew livery number 556. Puteklis, I'm incredibly sorry, my goodness, just 800s behind, so very, very close right now. Blink and you'll miss it. And I think the top 10 just within 3.5 tenths of a second.
Yeah, it is so close out here, and you do think of like Bristol Motor Speedway. Is it the Bristol for smaller cars? As we were saying with the banking, there is Garen Batten, who's got the fastest lap so far by 0.041 to Eric Smith, and those times are close and getting close. A little bit of a tweak there from Garen Batten, and that's going to be an issue. Don't think that's going to be faster. It isn't. Edward Shelley now. Similar teammates, a Sud Speed car there. He's getting ready to start his time. And it feels like some of the drivers, they're not using all 4 laps. They've got the ability to use all 4 laps, but if you feel comfortable, why use another one?
Yeah, I think it's also a bit of, keeping the exhaustion down because, going left, you're thinking, okay, well, you can do this easily. Like, you can do this for hours without tiring yourself out. Well, full NASCAR races, they are going on 4 hours, and it's insanely straining on the drivers because you also don't just have to, turn left and go fast as we had it in South Park. You also have to constantly watch the traffic around you. You have to be constantly aware of everything, as Edward Shelley beats pole position by 8 thousandths of a second. Absolutely incredible. And that is one of the things that you have to take into account here. Do I want to go for another lap? Am I done with qualifying? I'm sure I'll be fine. Oh, I got beaten by 8 thousandths of a second. And that's just what can happen to you. Daniel Thomas coming around, turn 3 and turn 4, and actually stopping his run.
Yeah, stopping his run, and I think there's just a few more drivers. Remember, got to check how it's done for the heat, but anyone in the odd position will be in the first heat. Anyone in the even position should be in the second heat. We'll get that worked out in a moment. Trevor Borowski now goes up into 4th, and the gaps here. Edward Shelley going faster. Now, when I say going faster, like there's going faster, and there's basically just inching out a little bit of time.
He got 1 more thousandth of a second.
He got 1 more thousandth of a second, exactly. I was looking at it and I thought, I am seeing that right. Talk about consistency from Edward Shelley.
Absolutely phenomenal, isn't it? Sometimes you just have to... You're thinking, well, I can get a little bit more of it. I mean, a little bit, that's quite literally the definition of that.
Well, Michael Hogg going on by, and it's been a while, and he's going to like this because he hasn't heard me on a Major Series broadcast for 2 years. And Rob, in spirit, he'll know what I'm talking about. It's not a cult. If you don't know the legend of Michael Hogg and the Baby Metal Not a Cult car, he would always make his own liveries, and that's what a lot of the drivers do, make their own liveries, and it was Baby Metal. And out of nowhere, Robert O'Brien, in the broadcast for the Sportsmans a couple years ago, would constantly just say, it's not a cult. It's not a cult, and a legend was born. He'll come across the line. He'll be finished as well. In the 60, Daniel Thomas getting some more time. And really, when you've got 20 seconds left, you've got enough time to do 1 more lap. all the experience you can get to help you out there.
Yeah, and I think this experience is very valuable, especially around, this circuit here. Slide a little bit too far up. We've got slick tires on here. They do throw up marbles the more they get worn. So marbles, these tiny bits of tire that just get thrown off the car under high loads over longer durations. And this rubbered in line that we see at the bottom, obviously the grippiest part. As soon as you get up a little bit too much into the marbles, you lose a lot of grip and slide wide. And for these guys, it's very important to know, okay, this is the maximum amount that I can go high.
7 cars in each split out there today. So, Edward Shelley, Trevor Varosky, Aldis Petakillis, Wayne Hutchinson, Brian Scrivener, Scott Kukas, and Ray Partridge will be the 7 cars. And what this will do, this will set the grid. So those who win get first. Go to second will get fourth. Just when we come to the grid. That's how it will work. Third onwards. And remember, just because you use a fast repair here, I think you may use your fast repair for the rest of it. But this is also something unique for America. It's a very nice start from the pit lane. 7 cars will be going around for 20 seconds a lap to try and find out who wants to be on pole.
I think the reason they're starting the pit lane as well, we saw earlier, the straights are banked at 7 degrees still. So launching, with pretty much, I think, a locked diff in these cars on a banked straight is already not too much fun from a standing start. That's why we have this beautiful rolling start here. We're all waiting for the pace car. There we go. And everyone's setting off to start the pace lap and get ready for Heat 1.
I'm just thinking, I've seen Porsche Cup on iRacing. I've seen Mazdas. I've seen them do grid starts on the banking of Charlotte, on the banking of Daytona. What's not stopping these cars doing a grid start? How brilliant would that be? But no, they're going to stay like this. It's 2 laps for the formation. The pace car won't dive in right away, such is the nature of it being a a very quick track out there. Short track ovals do deliver 2 laps to green out there. And I do wonder if we're going to see any hijinks here, because you got teammates in first and third out there today on this first race. That might be an advantage, because you see on the outside, I see a dog bear. In fact, I see the same guys. First, third, and fifth. A bit of teamwork may make the dream here.
They've got the entire inside line except for 7th place. So, maybe there might be some work here to help each other out, but we can only wait and see as they're rounding turn 3 and 4 for the last time, if I see it correctly. Yes, there we are on the inside. The pace car, and the green flag is out.
Green flag is out, and Edward Shelley gets not a good run here, because around the outside will be Trevor Varosky, and he will get that lead away, and that's very vital when it comes to the racing. The response will have to be held here from Edward Shelley. Very quick they go. 1 car already off. There won't be anything going there. Aldis with the Kellis down in the order. Ray Partridge still unable to get anything. 1 car still struggling to get onto the height side, but Edward Shelley losing the lead early, and that's not going to be good for the feature.
Exactly, and for that team, it didn't work out at all, and the 666 in the middle of a spin, 242 is hit. Kuka's going down to last place, and the 666 of Protectless, it's gone from bad to worse. 3rd place down to 6th place now. And yeah, that's not how that team imagined their way to go.
Yeah, well, not going in for the pits, just going to keep his fast repair and just keep on driving to try to see if he can just get anything respectable here. The rest of the field all battling. They're in 2x2 right now, and it's those sim speed guys that are trying to just battle for position. Not a lot of room here for Edward Shelley. He needs to find a nice little run here. He is faster than Varakowski through the corners. But look at it, he's diving into those corners, and it's a little bit smoother there from Trevor to get into the corner. Some of the drivers will probably look to diamond the oval banking. Some will probably want to hog it down. And again, a little bit wider into entry for Edward Shelley. Possibly cooking those tires a little bit. Gets a run, and there we go.
Looks down the inside, he has to leave the space, but he can carry more momentum with these wonderful high banked corners. But side by side, going down the front stretch, still alongside, going into turn 1, and this time Varosky can't go as deep or as early into turn 1, but still manages to carry more momentum, and Shelley has to give himself defeated for now at least.
Well, they also see that Wayne Hutchinson right behind them is slowly catching them, doing a lap, almost half a lap side by side. did hinder them a little bit. You look at the times coming in now. It's a 19.9 and it's a 19.8 for Hutchinson and Scrivener, who are also in their battle. And it's a similar thing. You've got to set yourself up for an overtake here. It's like chess. You've got to think a few moves ahead. You've got to think a few corners ahead to make a move here. These are the two battles out there that we're looking at. But you can see they're struggling in battles because Otis did a 19.7 last time by. Just goes to show that even following and battling, it can be slow around here.
I think not just that, this guy is very, very eager now. He started in third, had this very wily moment out of turn 2 down the backstretch and lap 2 or lap 1. And now, as his teammate is going for another move on the leads, you know, he's basically just thinking, well, all I can do right now is drive like hell, right? Like heaven and hell are coming down upon me, and do my best to catch back up.
Well, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to catch back up. They're about to start lap 10 of 15 for the first heat right away. And it's just going to be very interesting to see what he does. And he goes wide and high up the banking again. Almost looked like he got washed a little bit too high there. Not going to be good for the speed. Yes, you could get some speed on that banking, but you want to get down in the groove. And he's kind of in like a second groove there as Shelley. Still looking for any chance he can get. But he has to get on the brakes earlier, because remember, these are fiberglass bodies. They've got no brake lights. He just has to predict where the braking is going, and I think he's got this now. The best run he's had all the time, but he cannot outbrake Trevor Varakowski. And he's trying, and they do come together. And that actually didn't work there. That worked better for Varakowski.
Oh my goodness, that was close. Lucky both of them were able to hold it together there. That was very, very close indeed. But, you know, Shelley, of course, he can try to brake later, but he still has to make sure that he doesn't hit Vavrosky on the outside when he goes down the inside. And all of this battling is slowing them down bit by bit. We have a minute to go, just, I'd say 3, maybe 4 more laps if they are fast enough. And, you know, Pateklis might not be able to catch up to them, but my goodness, that man has gotten, in the last minute, he's gotten another half a second down on a 19-second oval, which is... wow, that is actually incredible.
It's impressive. It's impressive. And he's got no one with him after that bad start. But you can see Shelley is struggling. Wayne Hutchinson is holding off Brian Scrivener as well. This is the penultimate lap here. Still looking for a move. It's going to have to be a dive into the corner. And this is the problem. He dives into the corner to Shelley, but he cannot outbrake. And then the door opens up. And now they're going to go side by side for the final lap. Barney's got the white flag out. They're going to be going side by side. The inside belongs to Shelley. The outside for Varakowski. Varakowski gets the lead again. There is a lap car up ahead. Won't be affecting them. It's going to have to be a late dive for Shelley if he wants this. He will look for it, but the line has been cut off. Varakowski will hold on to this unless there's going to be a last-second hijinks. There isn't. He will win the first heat. That, in theory, will put him pole position for the feature.
My goodness, that was absolutely incredible to watch. But Ray Partridge comes in 6th, and our final starter, Kukas, who unfortunately got hit out of turn 2. 9 seconds behind, but of course not using the fast repair, and he should still have a good shot to try and make it in the last chance qualifier.
He should be all right for the last chance qualifier. I think everyone makes it in by the looks of it. Yeah, we're going to be checking that as well. Heat 2 coming up right now for the three groups. The second heat. I know what I'm saying. Garen Batten, Jeff Smyer, Brian Barnes, Sebastian Jackson, David Baker, Timothy Klaus, and Michael Hogg will be all battling. And of course, the best thing they have, Nicholas, they just got to see that race. They got to see some of the ideas that some of these drivers are looking at doing. And I wonder if that's going to help some of these drivers out there right now, just to get an idea of how they have to do things.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite a big help, especially considering the move for P1 we saw earlier, the slight contact that got B2's rear end unsettled. And, you know, especially the guys at the front will be thinking, okay, so this will be the biggest risk that I can get here. And, you know, this is where I have to watch out the most. Maybe I can try attacking differently. Maybe I can try forcing, or intimidate, as, you know, Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, would do. Intimidate him to go a little bit deeper by sticking it down the inside and, you know, then being able to complete the move. But, you know, this is all tactics. You have to make that stick in the heat of the moment, but set that pass up for a couple of laps in advance sometimes with these racetracks here.
Well, you see the number 30 there, Jeff Schmeier for the Dog Bear Racing, with Sarge's Place sponsorship on the banner. You've also got in the background Timothy Klaus with the Cure LMDH. It is Cure LMDH. I do get that charity wrong. I do apologize. Drivers always sporting their chosen charities. And of course, each week, each race does have a chosen charity in the Majors series. And get them. Anyway, it's been a while. I might have got my words wrong there, but the pace car will be going off very shortly, and the green flag will be coming down as the iRacing sedan pace car will say sayonara and allow Garen Batten to go to the lead. Green flag will go down now. Really good run. He's seen the last. He can't get on the throttle. Jeff Smyrna is going to go. In fact, Garen Batten's had a really bad start. They're free wide right in the background. Not at the best of start. Smyrna actually get the black flag. He jumped way too early, and that, unfortunately, is going to be a hindrance. That he'll have to serve or just accept that that's all she wrote for him today.
Oh, that is absolutely dramatic there. Sebastian Jackson getting a bit of a slide out of turn 4, now getting around, actually attacked around the outside by Baker. Can't quite make the move stick. I think you really have to be even further up ahead to make it stick around the outside. He's trying it again now. And, oh my goodness, you just close it in a little bit, and both of them make contact, actually, as Schmeier is going into the pits, and that is both cars in the wall. I think the others were able to evade it.
Everyone was able to evade it, and I think that's what happened was Jackson. They knew that Schmeier was coming into the pits there, and Jackson, I think he just lost the rear a little bit going in for the turn on the exit there of 4, and that just caused him to have a little bit of a bump, and there is a little bit of damage to David Baker's front. On a track like this shouldn't affect him too much, but wow, that allowed Brian Barnes the jump up to second. Timothy Klaus will be all the way up into third. That is big for the UDOX driver there in the colour shock purple and green, as I like to say. Keeps on by, but this is Garen Batten, 1.7 seconds. Let's have a look at what happened there. It just looked like the rear just left him there at the end.
Yeah, it might have just stepped out a little bit. I think also, you're looking on the inside, looking on the outside. A bit of a slide, tries to counter it, just barely has it there. But then the lines just slightly crossed and gets tapped, and really, really unlucky. The big winners here are, of course, now Klaus and Barnes.
Yeah, and also Michael Hogg. Give a shout to Michael Hogg. He also gains 2 positions. These are important positions at this race when it comes to the next stage of racing. So this is going to help them out as David Baker now trying to get the battle on to Brian Barnes. And we are halfway through this race, this heat at the moment. Garen Batten just puts in hot lap after hot lap after hot lap there. And it is quite hot in Australia at the moment. I'm pretty sure it's just coming up to springtime for them. David Baker, though, in America, just trying to hold on and make sure nothing happens out there. That's too far away, I feel, for him to be able to make a move. And it looks like he's got a little bit of a slidey car out there today, probably setting himself up for a little bit of short time running later in the race.
Yeah, I think because the races are comparatively short around here. I mean, we also saw the winner of the first heat, going very aggressive turn in, the rear stepping out basically every single time. On the shorter races, you can do that, but on the longer races, it's going to start becoming a problem if you consistently start putting that much heat into the rear tires. We see here Garen Batten actually a little bit more calm, a little bit smoother on the turn in and trying to use all of the room that the racetrack can give him without running into the wall there. You can see him just lifting off a little bit. I don't even think he's braking too much, honestly. I think he's doing mainly engine braking here.
Wouldn't surprise me, actually, on a track like this and the speeds that these cars have, that, using the engine braking may be more beneficial. If you're in a faster car, like an Xfinity, like a late model, I think you would have to look at having a little tap at the brakes around something like this, but they're on lap 11 of 15 at the moment. Batten is just cruising, and again, he's smooth into the corner. It's the 22 Celsius track temp, 71 Fahrenheit. It is the evening, so the track's going to get colder throughout the rest of the session. He's just putting in laps and just having a lot of fun, but look at the speed. I know it's kilometers an hour, but it is still over almost 100 miles an hour and more. That's, yeah, I don't think I'd like to be trying to do this track with this banking at 100 miles an hour.
I mean, it all depends on the car that you're doing it in, with an Indy car with thick tires and downforce. I wouldn't mind too much either. With this, it would definitely be more of a challenge, of course. These things are basically, weight and power-wise, they're basically just powered up MX-5s essentially, but obviously, you know, properly purpose built, so a lot more stiff and properly built to do all the left turning.
Well, in the background, Sebastian Jackson's trying to get some positions up. He's battling Michael Hogg, and he does get a better run out of the corners. So I do wonder if the Canadian's going to be looking for an overtake soon. The penultimate lap, by the way, for these drivers is Garen Batten about to take the white flag, and he does. So I wonder if Sebastian will look for this move. In fact, I think he's just going to set it up there, force Michael Hogg to go a little bit wider, and there it is. It's a nice little plan. They'll get the white flag. They'll try and make this battle. Garen Batten's going to be coming around the final 2 corners. He'll be taking the win of this race. And Brian Barnes will take that P2. Timothy Klaus in 3rd. And behind, David Baker will have to settle for 4th. And they are going side by side for the final corner. And Sebastian Jackson through 3 onto the exit of 4. Does get that position over Michael Holt. That P5, very vital.
Yes, indeed. Very nicely set it up with basically a lap in advance already to get alongside and then be able to make the move there in the final 2 corners. Really well done. And yeah, a good recovery as well after that, you know, first couple laps incident.
Good recovery for him. And with that, we will go quickly into the 3rd and final heat. Derek Smith will be leading them away from Daniel Thomas. Then it's Stephen Verheyen in 3rd. Hakan Schutz will be 4th with Daniel Homer in 5th. Gary Thomas will be 6th. It is a 6-car grid. Could have been 7, but they don't have enough, by the way. So Stephen Verheyen will be looking to go. And it's interesting when you think how close the top 3 were in qualifying. And this is what's happened, because the top 3 in qualifying you thought were good. Edward Shelley, the fastest man out there, he's not going to be starting the race in pole position because of that first grid. Same thing could happen to these drivers. Eric Smith may have had the 3rd fastest time in qualifying. That doesn't mean he's going to be starting in 3rd for the race. He's got to get through this.
Yeah, that's the beauty with heat racing. You know, you can do the qualifying and stuff, get split up into heats, but you have to perform perfectly all the way through, you know, and that's what a lot of these guys probably went into these heats in their mind. You know, okay, I only qualified down in 4th, I only qualified down in 8th place or something. If I do make it through the heat properly, if I don't get involved in a crash, I can still make it up quite a bit further. And then for, you know, before you get to the last chance qualifier and all that stuff, the final, you do still have a chance to make up for it and actually do gain quite a few positions before the race has even started, so to say.
Well, they're about to go green, and the 556 of Eric Smith will be holding off the number 60 Toyota GTO-inspired livery of Daniel Thomas. And it'll be interesting because every start here, the guy on the outside, the driver on the outside, has got the better run at the start, which has been very interesting to see. Green flag will be coming on by, and I wonder if this is going to be the same again. It's not, and in fact, it's not a good start for Daniel Thomas. But Derek Smith said, I am out of here, and manages to get a really good run. Daniel Thomas stuck on the high side as Stephen Verheyen will be there trying to get by, can't get by, and Hakan Schutz is right there to stop him going high. He managed to gap Hakan, but the leaders stay together, and that's just that one side by side. Hakan Schutz can't find his way back onto the racing line.
A lot of shuffling about in the positions right now. We have Schutz still looking for the outside of Holmer. Maybe not quite able to get alongside yet, but he's getting slipstream down the back straight. It's all about just staying consistent now, but I think he's leaving basically the door open for Thomas to get alongside, but can still drive away for now.
Yeah, got a really good drive away there, and Hakan Schutz manages to get himself back in the racing line. It's a mistake there from Thomas to decide to touch the wall there and hug the wall a little bit. And unfortunately, that's going to cause a little bit of damage to Thomas and just lose him some time. Daniel Thomas, he's the highest iRacing driver in this split, in this heat, sorry. So it'd be interesting to see what can he do with that knowledge of the ovals. It's a different car to what some of these guys would have been driving when it comes to oval racing out there. But this is the closest everything has been so far, the 3rd heat. Really putting some competition. Just one overtake so far. And, well, we're a 3rd of the way through the race.
Yeah, I think that's still the closest race we've had so far, you know, because due to incidents, you know, in the first couple laps, we had the field very quickly split up into these packs of 2, packs of 3 maybe. And here it's still a bit longer, but it's a one long pack of 6 pretty much still.
Yeah, and I think they've learned from what has happened in the other heats so far, and they're going to use that to their advantage. As even still, if we keep our ball with Hakan Schutz, and then we go to the chopper cam As I'm just standing there in the spotter's chair, trying to watch it with good vantage point, not a lot going on. Daniel, they're matching. The times are literally matching. When I say matching, a 19.810 for Smith, a 19.809 for Thomas, 19.819 for Vivian. They are so neck and neck. And there's not a lot of time and not a lot of opportunity. And I feel these drivers, well, they might be comfortable just keeping it clean at the moment and keeping these positions as they go. Again, more identical times.
Yeah, maybe thinking of going for a move a bit later. Right now, they're only half a second apart, pretty much each. Basically, the rhythm that we have throughout this entire field. Like, apart from Shirt, who's actually slowly getting a little bit closer to Homer. But Dan J. Thomas is just looking a little bit, trying to maybe get a bit of a cleaner line, trying to get on the throttle a bit earlier, but not. I think that might have been a bit of a hit there on the outside wall and immediately losing a little bit, but he seems quite confident in the corners right now.
Yeah, I'd say he's looking very confident. We get this fantastic camera angle, not over the shoulder, it's on it's on the window. You can just see that mirror just looking at him. It's almost like a piece of art here. This is something you would see in a movie, just to see what they're doing, but he's still looking. Different lines as well, and he dives in early, and that washes him up a little bit, trying to get that dirty air away from him, and it's cost him some time. He did a 20.007, and that's 2/10 slower than Eric Smith. And those times do add up, because now you start to see the gap is growing from the rest of the field. Even Stephen Vivian, the Canadian, is looking for a chance here. Even he's struggling to go, but you start to see Daniel is having some trouble out there, even in this short race.
I think those 210s were all in the last corner just now. Eric Smith went for a later apex, but kept it smooth, and because of that late apex, he could go on the throttle earlier out of the corner. So once again, it's all about, keeping your preferred line, keeping the line basically as perfect as it could be into and out of the corner. And, if you go a bit too aggressively into the corner, you obviously, you basically compromise your exit here.
Yeah, don't compromise your exit. And of course, if they're racing clean and they're racing fair, they're also just getting some seat time in to understand what's it going to be for a bit of pack racing. A mistake in the background. I did see that Stephen Vivian did tap the wall a little bit. That brings Daniel Homer in, but with 2 laps to go, I don't think it's going to be anything to go. Hackenschut still looking for some moves and managed to get away from Gary Thomas at the back of the field, but unable to do much with it. Final 19 seconds, 20 seconds to go. The white flag comes on by Eric Smith with a nice 7/10 gap here. Looks like he's going to be happy here. Through 2 they go onto the backstretch. Not a lot of problems here. We're just going to see the one overtake today in this heat. It feels like through 3 for the final time. Eric Smith will hold on to this. Daniel Thomas will take that P2.
And even though we did have people splitting apart a little bit, still quite close altogether. We didn't have a crash here. We didn't have any spins or incidents, so everyone was just trying to keep it safe here. And, it showed. This was the closest finish from first to last place that we've had so far.
Well, with that, we go into the C main. And this is again to just determine those first heats determine the next features. It's going to be 10 cars now into a 25-minute race, and this determines the grid because we need to even it out here. We've got odds and evens. So Trevor Bavoski, Eric Smith, Brian Barnes, Wayne Hutchison, Stephen Vivian, David Baker, Udis Putiklis, Hackenschut, Michael Hogan, Scott Kukas will all be going in this. And basically, it will just go down their order there. You can see that the man that finished P1 in 2 of the heats will go into this one, and then so on down. It's almost like a snake, but they've got 10 cars out there. We'll get 10 cars in a minute. This would be 25 laps. They've had 15 laps to learn how to drive around here, and driven already around here. Now they've got 25 to go by. This gets a little bit longer, and this is where you want to be careful in the move, because now this is important when it comes to the feature.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's all about perfection for an even longer time here now, and I think especially around here, because the race is longer, I think people could be a bit motivated to keep it safer until the last couple of laps. Let's go. And last couple of laps to go. Sorry, not let's go. What the? My brain is working in mysterious ways. English is not my first language, I'd like to say. And, I don't think anyone watching would be understanding me if I was speaking in fluent German here. So, yeah. But yeah, everyone should be a bit more, restrictive to themselves, you know, keeping themselves a little bit back for the first couple of laps, and then later going on the attack, because you have a lot more of the race to go. You have more time to actually race and try to make up positions.
Well, this will be for the driver, and whoever wins this gets first in the race. Whoever gets second will be third when it comes to the feature. So it's all important there, but you cannot lose that feature in the first couple laps in the C main. So they want to make sure they don't do anything bad. As Trevor Vavosky gets a really good jump on everybody, timed that very well. Ryan Barnes going to look to try and make an early move down into Eric Smith. The door is shut right away, and a man that's struggling right now, the number 17 of Wayne Hutchinson, he gets it back going, but for a moment he was too high and almost was going to be losing out, but he managed to find a way to slot in. Now they're just going to hold it. One overtake so far. David Baker, not Beckham, Baker getting past Stephen Bavea.
All of them quite close. Particularly is, of course, one of our unlucky guys in the split one, but still quite eager to try and get back. Looking over the inside, then getting a bit to the outside with the slide, because right up ahead, Vervayan is trying to look down the inside of Baker. Trevor Vavosky gets the fastest lap so far, so quite nicely done. And my goodness, you can see how much they have to move around right now. Potekla is looking into the gap that was created by Vervayan in front of him, and Baker can't really do anything except let him alongside. Let's see if he can make that move stick.
I think he'll be able to. That's really good work there from Potekla to make that move, but you can see could not get a good run on the exit there. So I do wonder if that will allow the 33 of David Baker to look for a response. Could not do it. In fact, takes a different line. In fact, he holds up Hack and Shoot right behind, just went a little bit too high entering that corner and could not get down on the groove. And I do wonder if that costs him a little bit. He's lost a little bit of time, and now if you're Stephen Bavarian up ahead, you're thinking these guys are fighting. I don't mind if I've got Ludus to move up. We'll just try and catch the rest. Hack and Shoot, though, he goes up into a position and he should be able to hold that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hakan Schut got basically, well, first-class seats to the two overtakes before him and gets it done now. I mean, Baker is still fighting against it, but, you know, getting passed by one car is one thing, and then getting passed by two a very, very short succession, that's going to be eating away at the confidence a little bit, so he needs to catch his rhythm again and try and fight back after that. Wayne Hutchinson, meanwhile, has a prime-time view of the top three right in front of him. None of them can get away properly. And my goodness, look at Barnes. Basically, I mean, they don't really have exhaust pipes at the back. They're all side pipes on the outside door. But if they had normal exhaust pipes, he'd be looking right down the exhaust pipe of Eric Smith.
Yeah, I think he might need to get himself an emissions check, because he might have just had a lot of smoke into his face with just what was going on there. As continues to look on, just Wayne Hutchinson looking for a move, looking to just set himself up. And it feels like ahead, Ryan Barnes in that in that blue and yellow liveried car, it feels like he's faster into the corner. I don't want to say into the apex, but he's faster into the middle of the corners. And I do wonder if that can help him, but he also knows that Eric Smith is not being too aggressive. He's happy to let Trevor just keep on going, because you don't want to overdrive these cars this early. I say this early, it's lap 10 at 25, but you do want to make sure that you have a shot to go. That's another fastest lap, though, for Bavarian. And in fact, do I see two identical times? I see two identical times out there, Nicholas, for both Trevor Vavosky and Stephen Bavarian.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, this is just one of those things that happens when you have these guys racing so closely together, similar equipment, short track. You have some slipstream at play as well, of course, but you still have to get the perfect line through the corner. And to have both drivers here, so Vervayan and Vavrovsky as well. Well, it's certainly a V-day here, and Vavrovsky is certainly going to take another V here, his victory, if it keeps on going like this in the C main. Because right now, he's basically slowly getting further and further away from Smith, while Barnes is still very, very close behind. But Barnes, of course, also has to look at his back for Hutchinson.
Yeah, interesting lines on the exit of 4 there for those who've been watching. Number 6, 6, 6, in 6th. Possibly not lap 6, but looking for another overtake here. Just can't get down there. You'd think, yeah, you've got the inside line, but that banking just allows the car higher up to really look for a move out there today. and really just allows them to defend. And we've seen that a couple of times. Yeah, you have to send the car in deep. You send the car in deep, you risk a little bit of, as they say, tight entry into a corner and tight exit in America. So that's a little bit of understeer. And now finally side by side, this is not what the number 73 of Stephen Vervaen wants to see, because he knows that if he's too high up, he will lose out battling these cars ahead. And Aldous, I think, decides it's not ready. They do have 11 laps to go after this.
Yeah, I mean, for now, it's not working yet. And Particulars has to, stick back for now. But Vervaen did have to use quite a lot of power to get away from him out of turn 2 just now. There was a big slide slowly going up the racetrack. And that could be basically, the stone that Particulars chips away at for the next couple of laps until that rear right is overheated for Vervaen for him to then make the move. But this will be a really, really tricky stone to actually, mine and take away back home.
I would think more with the way the weather's been at the moment. It's almost like an iceberg that's melting in the heat. And they're just trying to chip away at it. And while it's chipping away, it's also melting away. And that's the chance he's having. It's falling away from him to try and make a move. What does he have here? And he does get some really good running. You've got to feel the overspeed helps them. But by the time you get that overspeed, you have to get on the big pedal that says stop. And he has to slow it down a bit. Again, taking a different line, going a little bit wider. Don't think that's going to help him, but it clears the engine of air. It cools it down a little bit. This man doesn't need to worry about anything needing to cool down. Such a dominance here from Trevor Vosky from the start. Made a good time jump, and he will, if he wins this, he will be pole position for the feature. That's something to keep your eye out for, trying to get the best start for that feature.
Absolutely, Vavrovsky has been incredibly dominant here right now. I mean, every step of the way so far, got a perfect launch here. The Hot Wheels liveried car, well, certainly making some rubber burning onto the track. But I have to say, a lot of other drivers as well in the field still doing very, very well. Smith still keeping the same gap basically up. So he's not got the same peak pace as Vavrovsky or what Vervaen also achieved earlier. But he is able to keep the same pace over a longer stint. And, maybe for the main race that's coming up later, maybe if he can keep that, his slightly slower but more consistent pace up like that, he could be able to make a move towards the race end.
Yeah, we'll keep our eye on that, because remember, the feature's only 45 laps. And this is a 25 lap race as well, so there's a little bit of practice here for them as well, to go a little bit of the distance. You had your starter, this is your main course, your dessert's going to be the feature. I think you're going to be not full enough to go for that dessert, as Vervaen's still looking, and it's so tough in this situation. You know that you feel like you've got the chance with the overspeed. Can't make it. You have to set it up. And again, he gets close into the back of Hutchinson's car there, but there's nothing he can do. And now you're thinking, all right, penultimate lap, I might be learning from this, because when it comes to the main race, I'm going to have to think about maybe waiting to dive deep. Because if I dive deep right now, I'm losing time. Trevor Vavrovsky will get the white flag from Barney this time by, and he does have a healthy 6/10 lead. He has that fastest lap, and that fastest lap doesn't mean anything. There's 20 more seconds left to go. These guys are battling. Fantastic camera shot from Daniel to show us what's happening. These three having a little bit of a battle. Is there going to be a late lunge from any of these drivers? Nothing of to go. Vavrovsky will take the main. Everybody else is going a small slide in the background for the 73. Vervaen holds on to it. Top 5 all together as they started.
Oh, I think still quite close there across the line. Michael Hogg, the last person to finish. And even then, it's with the consistency that all of them had there, I think that's nothing to be ashamed about. You just have to slide wide once or overcook the tires twice. And you have to spend the next couple of laps basically underdriving the car quite a bit to actually get the tires in a usable window again. And, around here with 20 seconds, that's a very, very long time.
Well, Gareth Batten will be leading them off after he won the second heat. He'll be with Edward Shelley, Daniel Thomas, Timothy Klaus, Brian Griffin, and Daniel Homer. Sebastian Jackson, Ray Partridge, Gary Thomas, and Jeff Schmeier will be the 10 in this B main, as they call it. They're all going through to the feature. Nothing to worry about, but going to be interesting to see. One thing that's very crucial is you look at Trevor Vovosky, did win his heat. He won his heat, but not the fastest man out there today in single lap pace. He's going to be leading them for the race for pole position. Maybe could be this man, Garen Batten. They're getting ready to go on by. I wonder if we're just going to see the same sort of racing as we just saw before.
It's a difficult call to make, you know, and in the end it all comes down to how racy everyone else is feeling, and that's not in the dirty way of saying it. It's mainly, you know, if they're more, you know, eager to put on a move, or if they're more eager to, well, sit back and relax, see if, you know, there's some broken fiberglass up ahead and pick up the pieces and, yeah, get yourself a good race result. Both are a valid strategy around these ovals.
Well, you've got the Sud Speed guys all wrapped around the number 60, Daniel Thomas. He's there. He's Ralph Wiggum. He's saying, I'm in danger. And one thing, he's not in danger. He's not in danger of losing this position yet until the green flag comes on by. You've got to be careful. He does not jump the start. And it's a good start. And now you see these drivers, Batten and Shelley. They're going to work together, pull ahead. Daniel Thomas, not a lot he can do. Gary Thomas as well, losing out and gaining a position. Sorry to Ray Partridge. A couple of drivers losing out. Timothy Klaus in that purple and green, losing a lot of positions at the moment. He's lost 3. Ray Partridge has lost 2.
And Schmeier, one of the people that Partridge lost the position to, he's of course our driver that in the first heat that he drove in got that penalty for a jump start. He's going to be quite eager to make up a lot of places as early as possible, as long as the field is close together. And right now he's looking to make it from 10th up to 8th now. Looks like it's done and dusted, and next up is Thomas ahead of him.
It looks like Ray Partridge just had a little bit of a slide, but he managed to keep that car going. He holds on. Now Schmeier's going to have to try and look to see what he can do. Sebastian Jackson, teammate or teammate violence here at the moment. You want to be careful not to take out a teammate, as the 70-year Scrivener is going to lose out. But if he loses that, he loses to Daniel Holmer, the 79. There he goes side by side. And Holmer, thankfully, holds on to it. That's some nice racing. But right behind them, here comes the 30 of Jess Schmeier. And he's right behind all these guys having a little scrap. Schmeier's up 3. And we're only on lap 4. He's really making that charge up the field.
Absolute man on a mission. And now looking for Holmer as well, the next person up ahead. And my goodness. He's just attacking. You don't, well, you know what they say, you know, attack is the best defense, so he's just going to continue attacking. SimRace Sweden is up ahead next. Now looking for the outside at the beginning of the corner, then looks down the inside, keeps the car planted, and slowly has a bit of a drive there, but not quite enough traction to make a move into turn 1. But same practice again. This time a little bit wider, tries to use the banking a bit to his advantage to keep the tires a little bit calmer after the first couple of attacks.
Oh, this is smart. He actually took a higher line to keep that speed up, and it has helped him, but it's not close enough for him. And time is ticking down. Lap 7 at 25. Nothing happening at the front here, so he's now on damage limitation. What can he do? Because if he can't make the positions here, he's going to have to look to try and make the positions in the feature. It's not enough here, and I wonder if he's got this run closer and closer and closer he goes. He knows this is vital because, dare I say it, this is only the B main. This is only lap 8 at 25. I think Daniel Holmer might be the cork in the champagne bottle right now.
Oh, this is getting quite close. Schmeier obviously very keen to get a move on early, but this would have been his chance, I think, you know, but a bit too aggressive on the throttle, loses traction. And he can't quite put the power down to actually get alongside Holmer. And Holmer is playing this brilliantly right now.
Yeah, you got to feel for Jeff. Doing what he can. We also got Timothy Klaus in the background. Not been the start he wanted. He started in 4th and he's gone all the way down into 10th. Ray Partridge as well. The only 2 drivers that have lost position today. And they're battling at the back of the field to see who will be on that penultimate row and who will be on the last row. But this is Brian Scrivener. And Brian Scrivener, we saw almost at the start of the race, almost some battles between these two. Sebastian Jackson's made up 3 places. He's wanting to go. And the last thing you would want in a situation right now, if you're that team director, you wouldn't want your teammates to hit each other when trying to work out where you qualify for the feature.
And that is the big risk right now as well. You know, you have, well, not just the teammates in 4th and 5th, you also have in 1st and 2nd, so everyone's basically just thinking, okay, do I play the team game or do I play the personal game? Of course, you want to be a good teammate, but in the end, you're also racing for yourself. So Shelley and Batten, Jackson and Scrivener, those guys will be looking either ahead, quite crucially, or in the rearview mirror and thinking, well, how is it going to be, guys?
I'll tell you how it's going to be. It's just going to be, let's just wait, and then, you know, let's drop the papaya rules and let's just go hard into racing later on. And that might be what they're doing. They're just gone over the halfway mark for the B main. And you've got to feel that this could be working in their favor. Debricelli again. Look what he's trying to do. Jeff Smyrna, we'll get back to Jeff Smyrna watch, and still trying to take that same line. He is unable to look for a way. You've got to feel for this man, because he had a really good start, and all of a sudden, good start kind of just petered out a little bit because there's a man in a Swedish-colored car that is just holding him off.
Yes, indeed, but yeah, he can't quite make the line yet. He can't quite get alongside, but now he's looking down the inside, looking to be a bit more aggressive. But Holmer not cracking under pressure. Schmeier is trying to keep the traction on, but then he's just missing the power to actually make that move stick. So once again, you know, inside, outside, where can I make the move? Now he's looking a bit better than before. Getting a good run out of turn 2 into turn 3, and that's going into the corner quite aggressively. Schmeier now looking ahead of Holmer, and Holmer now using all of the track available up to the wall to stay up ahead. Wonderfully driven.
Yeah, the issue is for the man on the inside, which is Holmer. He comes to the exit of 4, and the car does not want to track up wider than it can. And he's just not getting the throttle down that he wants to, and that's just what's holding him up. Is he's unable to keep that power down and keep the line there that he wants when he comes out of 4. So this is what's costing him, and now he's just taking a couple high lines, just giving himself a little bit of time. I think he's considered, in fact, that this is going to be the only battle he's got, so he's looking for an opportunity, but it's lap 18 of 25. Going to have to do it soon, but he understands what to do now, and that's going to be really good when it comes to the end of the feature, because now he knows how not to make an overtake. He can use that to his advantage. These guys, they don't have anything to learn. They're learning how to do tandem racing at the moment like teammates do.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the safest way that they can progress right like this. Right now, it's pretty much, you know, they're sticking right with each other. If they start racing each other, you have Dan Thomas right behind them, was very, very eager for those two to start to tango a little bit, because it takes at least 2 to tango, but he would not be opposed to making it a 3-way battle. Meanwhile, Jeff Schmeier trying to tango on his own now, still not quite able to get alongside properly at the exit there. And once again, Holmer just able to keep that drive up, man. Meanwhile, we have Thomas from behind, the number 7 now, looking quite close to Schmeier. He's quite keen to, I think, regain the position that he lost earlier.
I think he may be looking, but I think he also might be thinking, I don't want any of this. And that was the closest Holmer got to making a move out there so far in this race. So it was close. It just wasn't close enough. He's not getting the run out of 4. And you can see that Holmer has a really good run out of 4. And in fact, look at it, just trying to take different lines. And that's the difference. Look who's kissing the wall. It's Daniel Holmer. And Schmeier is nowhere near that opportunity. He's looking, but every time he looks, it's not there for him. And now he's under threat right behind from Gary Thomas. And this is where it gets a little bit worried. Penultimate lap is coming. And I do wonder if this could be everything she wrote there, because I cannot see an overtake happening now unless it's the last late dive from Jeff Smyrna.
Yeah, I think for the first couple positions, we should be fine. I mean, also Scrivener and Jackson here seem to be quite put up well together. And of course, the teammates should probably not want to fight each other like this in these last couple of seconds. But Schmeier again, looking down the inside, down to turn 1 on the final lap. Can't get the drive done yet. Is there going to be another look? I don't think so. Jaron Bettenauer comes out of turn 4, gets ahead of his, well, stays ahead of his teammate Shelley. Thomas goes in 3rd, Jackson in 4th, Scrivener in 5th. Holmer and Schmeier finish as they are. So Holmer able to pull off a pretty much 20-lap defensive drive here.
Real good driving there from Daniel Holmer, but Jeff Smyrna, you got to think, oh, I had a chance and just could not get it going. So they're now going to take a 3-minute warm-up. So that allows us just to get our bearings. And of course, whoever won the C main does indeed go pole position, and who won the B main goes into P2. So that means Ravoski will be first and Garen Batten will be second. And if you're wondering what happened to the man that was the fastest man in quali, which was Edward Shelley by the barest margin, Edward Shelley is going to be starting 4th out there today. Very tough. But one thing I want to just pick up there, the reason that we saw Smyrna unable to make moves out there today, Nicholas, could not get the right lines. And we don't talk about that a lot about that on the exit of a corner on oval, but the lines were really costing him on the exit. He was losing a lot of speed.
Yeah, I think he was mainly focusing on trying to get that attack done to intimidate, doing a proper Dale Earnhardt style drive. Intimidate people into going wide, because if they go wide enough, they go onto those marbles, lose enough grip that he can just stick around on the inside. And even with, the suboptimal, turning at the end that he has to do still, and can't go as much on the throttle, he would still have enough liberty on the throttle that he could pretty much just stay alongside and then complete the move into the next 2 corners.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens now, because if you look at that one with Schmeier, that means he will start 14th position after what happened there, and all because he had that moment where he jumped the start. Should be one of the drivers at the front of the field. He's near the rear. I think of other drivers that have not had the best of times out there. Unfortunately, that really those 2 drivers that you would expect, the Edward Shelley, the Jeff Smyre, just missing out on what could have been. But 35 laps, Smyre showed that you can make early overtakes. You've just got to keep that pace up, and those drivers could still make some moves out.
Yeah, exactly, and especially this will be the longest race that we had so far. And, all of these guys will have to basically, check their privilege, check how much they can attack, and how long it'll actually go on. How long their tires will be able to continue pushing at that limit that we saw so far.
And remember, this is a slower car, so the tire wear you would think isn't as bad as like a late model or a tall mod. Yeah, but they still have to take that speed through here today. So that's one to keep your eyes out for. And of course, I'm pretty sure cautions will be enabled now. I'm not entirely sure if they're going to be off or not, but you would think for a feature that Barney would have his yellow flag ready, and just one mistake could be an issue. But it's been pretty clean so far. So I do wonder, as Trevor Vorosky can only just go 8 thousandths slower than Otis, who had the fastest time in the warm-up. But we're about to go green. Well, not green. We're about to get into the grid. Everyone get back to the garage. It's time to get your car ready. Trevor Vorosky will be the man who will lead them off, with Garen Batten coming into P2, with Eric Smith into 3rd, and then it'll be Edward Shelley in 4th. And of course, you will have Brian Barnes will be 5th, and Daniel Thomas takes 6th. Rain Hutchinson will be 7th. Get the grid going there. It will be Sebastian Jackson in 8th, Stephen Bavayan in 9th, Brian Scribner in 10th, and I can hand off the second page to Nicholas.
Yes, just quickly waiting for the second page here for the viewers as well. Then we have Puteklis in 11th and Holmer in 12th, the defensive driver of legends. Then Hakan Schutt in 13th, Jeff Schmeier, the attacker, in row 7. Then we have David Baker and Gary Thomas in row 8, Scott Kukas and Ray Partridge in row 9. Then we have Michael Hogg and Timothy Klaus in row 10.
So they'll be getting ready. 35 laps around here. Thought those races were pretty quick and also very interesting, because short track racing is very interesting when you come to anything on iRacing, in the real world or on iRacing. It's one of those things that you go, maybe, how do you make these overtakes? Because you can't send it into the corner. But this is the closest that some of these oval drivers get to road racing. Cautions will be enabled. There is a spare tire. I do wonder if they're going to need it. Trevor Vavosky in the Hot Wheels car will be looking to do some real cool stunts out there today. And by stunts, I mean just powering down in that Ford livery. A lot of drivers, remember, this is a car with no front stamped here. They can run any sort of car they want. I've seen Mazdas, I've seen Volvos, Fords. I've seen the American style. I mean, back in the day, I used to run a Kia livery on some of these oval cars, and people used to laugh at me. Why a Kia? I said, well, Kias are cool. And what's cool is a green flag for 35 laps. This is the feature of the major series in the Europe today. Trevor Vavosky will be leading them off. Garen Batten, we beside. He'll be looking to get some real good time with Australian. But this is it. Green flag goes down by Barney. It's a good start in the inside for Eric Smith. Make sure there's no black flag for any driver. Everyone gets off clean. And a real good start for Vavosky. He did it in the feature. In the main, he's done it in the feature.
Yeah, now we're cooking with oil, and that's a bit too much cooking from the 73. That's Vivian, one of the faster guys in the last race that we had, and all the way down, and we have a yellow.
Yeah, and it looks like, did he just get yeah, did not have the speed, the 666 there. Otis Putkella's just got a little bit into the rear there, sent him around. I don't know if there's any serious damage. He'll have a fast repair, it's okay, but Barney will slow them all down half a lap straight into a yellow flag. Vivian's gonna have to do it in a very slow way as the driver will get ready to catch up to the pace car. And short track racing, pace cars shouldn't be too long, so we'll get back to racing pretty quickly. But there's the iRacing sedan all coming ready.
Yeah, keeping everything under caution here right now, and everyone's keeping bunched up. We also have Lucky Dog, of course, so later on in the race, if we have people using their fast repair, you know, we're having, well, any bigger incidents, for example, and falling laps down, if they have a first car a lap down behind the leaders, they will be getting a lap back under caution. And yeah, I mean, for now, luckily not the case, but Vivian, of course, will still be, yeah, I think he'll still be quite annoyed that not even lap 1 was able to be completed cleanly, and that he was the one that had a bit of a shunt there, as we can see in the replay now.
Yeah, here it is, and it's just one of those moments. He's had to check up a little bit for the 17 of Wayne Hutchinson, and he checks up into the corners. He goes in. There's Otis in the 666, just not realizing the speed difference there. It's an oval thing. It's one of those things you see when it comes to oval racing. Drivers just making that one mistake where it's not on purpose, but it's just one of those things you don't know the speeds.
I'm actually quite surprised that we got a yellow for that. Like, everything considered, it was a single car. Like, normally you get a yellow flag for at least 2, 3, 4 cars involved, especially around here. But I suppose that, you know, since it is such a short track and we have 20 cars on here, you know, Barney was thinking, okay, this would be a bit safer if we have a yellow for this one.
Well, Otis Putkella's will be handed a end-of-line penalty for causing the incident. He'll go to the back of the field. We get ready to go green, and Trevor Vavosky will try to see if he can gap Eric Smith this time, as Eric got past Garen Batten at the start of the race. They'll go green for the second time here on lap 5 of 35. And hopefully it's going to be a little bit cleaner right now. Otis will have to go to the back. Ahead of him is Stephen Vivian. More drivers just chopping and changing in the background. And here they go, Eric Smith trying to defend against Garen Batten. And Batten gets it with a brilliant move.
Batten gets it with an incredibly good start, but Smith almost losing the rear end, and that is the very hot tires on the rear. You can still see him swirling about. Now falling behind Shelley, and Thomas looking down the inside as well. So, yeah, the big winner here, Batten. The big loser right now, Eric Smith. He has to find his composure again and keep up the pace right now to not get passed by Thomas as well, but I think that's beyond his decision right now.
He's trying to turn in, and there is a car right beside him. Smith cannot turn in at the moment. He's looking for an opportunity. They go side by side. Another slide from Byron Barnes. Holds on to it as well. Brilliant move. No, he's holding. He is holding. And everybody in this booth is going absolutely crazy. And Byron Barnes just decided to merge from the fast lane to the slow lane on the I-75.
Merging across 9 lanes without an indicator. My goodness me, how did that not cause another yellow? That's absolutely insane. And there's the next contact, my goodness. Oh, and even more. That's, who was that? Number 17, that is Scrivener.
Going down. Yeah, Garrett Thomas has gone round as well. He's gone round, but he's able to keep on going. He's trying to keep on going, and he will keep on going. He's not back over the line, and he's not had enough traction. This is it. He's making sure no incident here. He'll just take the pit lane. No chance for him to do anything else. He knows the cars are going. He will go to the pit lane to keep that safe. He'll have to take a fast repair for some damage, but now this is Garen Batten's time to shine. He's finally got onto the back of Trevor Pavlovsky. And now's the question is, what has he got? Because for the first time today, the Aussie has to try and go attack.
And we could see already in the qualifying, these guys are so close together on pace. Now we can see who's even closer together on the racetrack. You know, how can they put down the same amount of pace when other cars are also around them? Eric Smith in 7th place now. Schmeier actually... Oh my goodness, I just noticed Schmeier up in 6th place.
Yeah,
where did he come from?
Well, he's come from, I think all that carnage with the car merging across the lanes may have just caused that, but also Vervain, remember, he started that restart last. He's up into 12th. Udis up into 11th, so they've made up a lot of places. Great driving from everyone, but Jeff Smyre, he'd taken what he learned last time out, and the number 30's gone, yeah, I think I know what to do. And do you know who he got past? He got past Daniel Holmer, and that was his goose egg last time. He doesn't have to worry about that man. In fact, he's got a teammate ahead of him now, which is Wayne Hutchinson, but in the background, we still see this side by side. Byron Barnes, he's managed to work out what lane he wants to go in, and he's going to take away that line from Daniel Holmer.
Yeah, very good run, but loses a little bit of momentum once again on the exit. All about keeping it clean there, and once you run a little bit wider, you don't have to rotate the car as much. And my God, Holmer, we already established it in the last race. You know, he's a master of going up to the wall, giving it a French kiss without actually touching it. And look at that, absolutely insane. And he's still able to keep it around the outside. Now slots him in front. Oh my goodness me, and that's a big one. That was maybe a little bit too aggressive on the turn again.
No, and no one's slowing down in time, and that caused a little bit of a moment. I think the problem was that Holmer was there, and Holmer was trying to hold on. But you've got to feel that Byron thought, I need to get going. And he got a bit too loose, trying to keep that line. And he had an overlap going into the corner. But as they started turning into the corner, the overlap that a spotter would give was gone. And he tried to keep that up, and I think it was just a little bit too aggressive. He does tap them. They both go around. And I did see Daniel Holmer. He did get caught by another driver who didn't slow down in time. He may need to take a fast repair. Also, once again, I see 2 purple ticks. Yes. And it's Garen Batten setting a fastest lap out there with a 20.034 Pavlovsky. I think the fastest lap, yeah, a 19.698 from Garen Batten and Edward Shelley. Here's the replay. I wonder if this is Byron Barnes. Watch this. Just a little bit too aggressive. Yeah, look, trying to keep that speed up there. And the first little tap there, I'm pretty sure there was a little bit of a tap. That would have caused him to lose the speed, lose the grip, sliding. And it wasn't like that slide he had last time, unfortunately. He had to just concede. He will go into the pits, mainly just to get some repairs. Orange Grivner in as well. But because he was the man that caused it, race control, giving him the end of line penalty.
I think Thomas should be able to get back on the lead lap though with the lucky dog. So it should be a nice little bonus for him there. Ryan Barnes obviously, yeah, quite unlucky there. I think, you know, after the first touch, a bit of a slide. So he was a bit, you know, trying to not, he was trying not to, you know, lose even more momentum, so to say, because you spin, you don't want the rear to lose even more grip. You want to keep weight on the rear. So usually your initial moment is, you know, you actually put a bit of power down, get the rears loaded up to keep the spin from escalating. And I think that tiny bit of power probably was just a bit too much mid-corner and then collected Holmer as well.
Well, we're about to be going green for the second restart, or the third start here on lap 20 of 35, to 15 laps to go. It's the length of a heat here, so this is going to be interesting. Varosky will launch them again, and the teammates are there trying to work together as Batten and Shelley will look to try and work together. Daniel Thomas right behind saying no, and more cars bunching up in the background, and it's teammates into one another, and they collected the 73 of Avayan, but they keep on going. It's hard racing, but it's hard racing that everyone is surviving at the moment, but at some point, one of this hard racing could be a problem. If they stay green though, it's going to be fine. Meanwhile, in the background, even more back bumping and banging as Daniel Holmer is trying to get his way around Gary Thomas.
Emil Schmeier is now on the defensive for the first time that we've seen him on camera here. Eric Smith is actually making a comeback now. Actually trying to attack back, trying to get some of the places back that he lost earlier. And yeah, Schmeier has to, for the first time I saw, concede. And in the background, we have another one off. That's Verweyen. And yeah, Verweyen, I think Klaus as well.
But we go green. We go green. Everything's all right. We go green.
We keep green.
We keep green, which is important here, but they'll have to get a move on. They'll be losing some of the momentum. This is the top. I'm just looking. Everybody's in a group here. The top 12, all in a little bit of a train. I don't have a blanket long enough. I'll probably get an AA roadmap to try and just unravel and throw over them. Eric Smith is looking to go. Let's have a quick look at the replay where they're going. This is Verweyen trying to battle the 73. That was the 73 is Verweyen. It's the 8th there. He was battling a Ray Partridge. Was this just a car going a little bit too hard? No, just going a bit too fast into the back of Hack should. We've seen that before. Drivers, and as our director was saying, bing bong, and bing. Just everyone just punching up there.
Yeah, it's shut a little bit slow in the middle of the line. And I think Verweyen got a bit caught out there. And as soon as, of course, he's making the contact as well, he's losing speed. From behind comes the next one as well. And yeah, just a big harmonica effect, you know. It's pushing itself together, and no distance, no time to react, and unfortunately Verweyen also the main loser in this situation here.
Yeah, Ray Partridge, a little bit of a gainer here today. Hacken Schutt trying to get some driving as well, but again, another driver trying to make that move into 3 and 4 and can't get the exit of 4. Making him struggle. We're on lap 27 of 35. It's 9 to go. That's how quick we go around here at the moment. Top 2 have not changed position. Everybody else has changed places everywhere. And this is the man that lost 3 positions after starting in 3rd. It's Eric Smith looking to try and make some more moves. He'll go to the inside of Wayne Hutchinson, and he's looking to hold this position. Can he get the run out of 2? It's a very risky run. They are going to have some side-by-side, but he cannot make this run. The outside is faster, providing you can hold on to the outside. Eric Smith goes back up into 5th.
Yeah, I think that was the main strategy here. You know, try to force Hutchinson a little bit too wide into the 3rd and 4th corner and basically get the run in, because you have the compromised exit on the inside line, but you don't really have to compromise it as much when you see already, okay, this guy slid out too far. He's not alongside anymore. I can use all of the track I want. So Smith really played it brilliantly here, getting a quite good recovery in right now.
Well, it's not Magic the Gathering. It's not a two-headed giant format here, but you've got 2 dog bear versus these Sud speed cars, and they're looking to try and make a move. Is Udis Bukekis, who's up 3 positions here today. Jess Meyer's up 7. Trying to do what he can to defend, because the Dog Bear Racing would love it. It's a 6 and a 7th. It would still be a good result for them in a team standing. And what a recovery for Jeff Smyer if he can hold on to this. We're about to start lap 32. We're almost at the stage now where a caution ends the race. There is no overtime. So whatever happens now is going to be probably the end of the race for these drivers. What have they got out there? The closest battle right now is this. Smyer still looking at Hutchinson.
And Smyer, you know, after that jump start, I think that's been haunting him ever since. And ever since then, you know, starting to still gain more and more confidence, racing it back up. And honestly, either way, whether he's 6th, whether he's 7th, what an absolutely insane drive from him here today. Meanwhile, we have the man that was, well, pretty much flawless throughout the entire format so far. Pavlovsky, half a second clear of the teammates. Batten and Shelley behind him. Thomas is a bit further behind. Smith trying to catch up. Then we have Hutchinson, Schreier, Puteklis, and Jackson, the next pack of 4, where they have to watch both from front and behind them. Schreier looking down the inside, not making a move yet, but he's letting him know, hey buddy, I'm here. And, well, I mean, the black car's fitting quite well to his Intimidator theme this evening, isn't it?
It is, and it's white flag right now. And it's going to be very interesting. Can he do any more intimidating? As Trevor Vavosky, he was the 4th fastest man in qualifying, and he had to work his way up. He shocked everybody into Heat 1 to win it, and he's kept that. And he's kept the lead, and he's kept the lead throughout. And Trevor Vavosky will win it here today at New Smyrna. Batten will take 2nd with Shelley in 3rd. Then Daniel Thomas, it's a small sprint to the line for Wayne Partridge. Could not get past David Baker. Jess Meyer couldn't get past Wayne Hutchinson as Brian Barnes comes on by. The fireworks will go, and that is a driver just deciding, not my race today, as he goes on by. But, as I always like to say, Trevor Vavosky, you've won at New Smyrna. It's only fair to say, burn it down.
And already setting fire with the side pipe there. Now there we are. burn some rubber. He's certainly making the Hot Wheels livery quite proud right now. It is a bit of a it's a bit odd though, isn't it? Four-cylinder engines. This thing looks like it should have a V8.
I wonder if he's going to blow the engine out there today, or if he's just going to celebrate with some donuts. If he's going to put the car into the wall and just burn out and burn the engine. We'll wait and see. Is he even going to do a Polish? No, he's going to step on victory lane here. And as you see, that is what he wants to see. He takes victory out there today. And what a result for Trevor Warowski. Fantastic for the man. As there you see him spinning around. Brilliant there on the replay in that Ford Mustang stock car out there today, as that will give the victory to Trevor Warowski, with Garen Batten, as we were saying, in second. Because Edward Shelley will be third and Daniel Thomas in fourth, and Eric Smith. Only a handful of drivers lost positions out there today. Eric Smith was one of them, as he will finish in fifth position. That's what the track looked like before these guys traded paint and burned rubber out there. As I was saying, Wayne Hutchinson was sixth, Jeff Smyer was seventh, Aldous Puttakellis will be eighth, Sebastian Jack ninth, and David Baker in 10th. We'll get those results just down there quickly before we go on to the second page. Very close racing. Shout out to Smyer and Partridge, both of them making 7 positions, but Partridge will be the man who starts page 2.
Absolutely, both of them fantastic right today. Ray Partridge in 11th, and Hakan Shed in 12th, also gained a few positions, I think. Scott Kukas in 13th, Daniel Homer in 14th. Brian Barnes, after a bad luck in the middle, stays behind Holmer in 15th. Michael Hogg in 16th, and Timothy Klaus goes to 17th. Stephen Bavarian, unfortunately, very, very unlucky today. The last finisher on the lead lap in 18th, and Gary Thomas in 7th, with the number 7 in 19th place. Well, frustratingly, destroys his car on the outside wall for turn 1 at the end of the race. Brian Scrivener, our only DNF.
Well, we have some time for a few interviews, and we do have the man of the moment here. Coming into the box. He's taken himself out of victory lane and moved himself into the box. It's Trevor Warowski who will win out there today. And Trevor, you weren't the fastest man. You had to earn that first spot by winning the first heat. And the moment you managed to get that, it seems like it was nothing but plain sailing for you out there today.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. No, it was definitely the track position helped. It feels like I kind of won this event on the very first start of the night, and yeah, it was awesome for that. But man, those Fusion guys were flying.
Yeah, they were absolutely flying out there. But so were you. In all due fairness, you were flying, and that does help. But the thing about this, it's very start and stop. You're doing 15 laps, you're doing 25 laps, then you're doing 35 laps. How do you maintain that focus and maintain that momentum? Because each race is too quick to start thinking about 3 corners ahead. You have to think pretty quickly. That must keep you on your toes. So many quick races in succession.
For sure. The good news was the setups don't need to really move around a ton from one to the next, at least for me. I was trying to make a little bit of progress over the night. I think in the C main, I noticed that I was fading a little bit more towards the end. Went out, tried some adjustments again in the warm-up, and felt really comfortable in the car, and then got into the main and was ready to go 35, and then I actually got a few cautions to break it up a little bit, so that took a little bit of pressure off the tires on the long run.
Yeah, that pressure was actually very handy, because it did allow you to just get a breather and restart those fantastic restarts out there. And chief thing for you, 3rd win of the season. Jesper Eriksson and Garen Batten, the only ones with multiple wins alongside. So this has to be very confidence-inducing going into the next race, which will be Petit Le Mans, because I think if the math serves me right, looks like you may have taken over the lead, and that's going to feel a little bit good when we come back to the road race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I needed this one with Jesper not being here, and I know I have a very poor oval race already on my record. We'll see how it turns out with the drop races. I don't expect Jesper's points to change a ton, but it'll be interesting to see how that works, and I expect him to be very strong late in the season with some of these high downforce cars. So this was one I really needed, so it was very nice to see this result. Very surprised, but very happy with it.
Well, you've got to be very happy. A victory is a victory at the end of the day. Before we let you go, anybody you would like to give a shout out to before you can go back into that little victory lane and have a celebration?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to crew over at GT Dynamics. Just starting up again this midway through this year, and we've been rolling, having some fun. I think we're going to have a really nice car for Petite, so hopefully that translates over here into the majors. And then specifically to Nick Davis, helped me out to set up today.
Well, Trevor Vavosky taking the victory today. Congratulations once again, Trevor, for that win. And a very strong win. But we also have the man who came home in second. It's our favourite Aussie after some of the other Aussies we know, but it's Garen Batten, and he's alongside Nicholas in the booth.
Hello. Garen, good race today for Fusion Gold. Wasn't quite enough to get Trevor, but nevertheless 2-3, quite confident for both the Drivers' Championship and the Teams' Championship, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure if you picked it up on the broadcast, but in both the heat races, Ed and I managed to mash the gear shifts and on the starts and go nowhere. So that was a great start to the races. I was lucky, and I need to apologise to Jeff. I think he got a black flag for passing me before the green or something because I missed the shift, and so I was lucky enough to at least stay at the front. But yeah, you just can't pass around here. So yeah, Trevor won the first heat, then he got pole for the second race and then also the feature, and that was it. You just can't get around it. So yeah, well done to him, and yeah, it was good to just stay error free and come home 2-3.
Overall, what would you say was your biggest pressure point really? Because you have your teammate behind you, of course, but following quite closely. And is there like a main thought of, what if he decides to attack me? What if what if I slide wide and we have to start fighting?
Yeah, we if it was for the win, then we would have fought it. But it was, we're not going to fight over who finishes second. Ed never even attempted to have a go at me, even though he was probably quicker than me towards the end because I'd burnt my fronts trying to find some way to get around Trevor in the first half of the race. But yeah, we knew that there was no pressure from behind Ed, and we probably weren't going to go around Trevor, so we just gave up and just ran around to the end.
Nevertheless, though, consistent result, 2-3, good for the team, and still very well driven for obvious reasons here.
Yeah, thanks. And the last round was a complete disaster for me as well. So yeah, I really needed something.
So a good comeback at least.
Yeah.
Right. Are there any shout-outs that you want to get?
I'd actually like to give a shout out to Rob Northway, who couldn't come for family reasons for this race. He and I actually did a bit of setup work together on this, even though we're from different teams. So yeah, shout out to him for the help that he gave us for the setups, as you saw in qualifying. We had some rocket ships, so yeah, thanks to him, and then also to the rest of the Fusion guys, Brian, Chris, Justin, Jason, yeah, all the guys that have done the setup work, and not just for this race, but for the other rounds or the other region races as well. So yeah, thanks for everyone.
I know, great to hear from you, and thank you very much. Congratulations again.
Thanks, guys.
Got Garen Batten there, who finishes in second today. And that's going to do it all for us here at New Smyrna Speedway. Or New Smyrna Speedway. There's so many different ways of pronouncing this track, but thank you once again for tuning in. If you like what you see, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss any more racing, because we will be back next month. Road Atlanta for their version of Petit Le Mans, 7th of September. And check out the times as well. 14:45 UTC, roughly, give or take 30 minutes out there. But that will be the third to last round for the major series. And of course, we do have other broadcasts coming on Global Sim Racing Channel. In fact, Grand Prix Legend going to be at Sebring next week. We also got the IMSA Vintage and then the Classic Lotus Grand Prix, which will be on very shortly, coming on the iRacing channel at Detroit. You don't want to miss that if you want to watch something to end your evening. But a shout out to, of course, Nicholas Hillebrand and Daniel Costello and Dougie Beard once again for bringing you this. I have been Craig King as well. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Championship standings will change. The oval portion of the championship is over. Now It's all about four wheels on racetracks that aren't an oval. You join us next time for Petit Le Mans, but until then, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track.
This is iRacing.
Hey, you know that guy who just before the green flag keys up his mic and asks, "Anybody got a setup?" Well, this is him. This is Adam, and hey, Adam needs some help. On the other hand, this guy over here, this is Steve. Steve is a solid racer and he knows his way around the garage. Steve's problem is time. With a job and a family, he can't find enough time to build competitive setups and to race as often as he likes. But as luck would have it, Steve knows a secret. He lets the Majors Garage crew chiefs do the setup work so he can focus on the racing. At majorsgarage.com, Steve can get setups for over 60 cars on the iRacing service. So no matter what series he wants to jump into, he is covered. Anybody really should tell Adam. See you at the garage.